Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And you know, I've never hidden the fact that I am a DC fanboy, right? We've talked about this for a long time. If any of you have been here since before the ban, you'll know that I used to cut my teeth almost an entire summer of nothing but talking about DC leaks and rumors and all this other kind of stuff from very reliable sources that all turned out to be true. Yes, we did end up getting Henry Cavill back as Superman, even if it was only for a brief moment. But boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, those days are long gone. And at the end of the day, I am a DC fan above all else. I want those things to be good, and I am excited, cautiously optimistic. Well, I'm optimistic about it at this point, especially with the latest Superman trailer that came out, and a lot of the fans seem to be really enjoying it for the most part as well. And boys and girls, we've been talking about Fantastic Four, we've been talking about Superman, how it's going to all work out at the box office, how are things going to end up looking in July, who is going to come out on top as the king of the superhero box office summer. And ladies and gentlemen, just like we have been talking about around here for quite a while, it looks like Superman is going to actually and absolutely crush Fantastic Four, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not even going to be close. Because just a little while ago out there, Fandango put out some information about how Fantastic Four was their number one in pre-sale tickets of all year, yada yada yada, right? Which, considering what we've had come out this year, isn't really saying a whole lot after all. I mean, Captain America: Brave New World, how well did that work out? The Thunderbolts, although I did hear good things, obviously ended up failing miserably at the box office, right? Marvel burnout is real. The fans don't trust the studio anymore after the abominations that they have given us over the last few years. I mean, the Eternals was an absolute disrespect to the great Jack Kirby. It wasn't even close to being accurate to the source material, and we knew from the marketing and from everybody involved in it, it was all about the representation. Remember, that movie was going to save lives. Well, I don't know if it did or not, but it definitely cost quite a few people their jobs and ended up losing the Disney Marvel Corporation hundreds of millions of dollars on top of everything else they've lost over the last few years. And boys and girls, the difference with DC is this is a fresh start. The casting is phenomenal. Holt looks great as Lex Luthor. David Cornsweet is I think a very good casting for Superman. He was my pick out of the original rumored course. And of course, Rachel Brosnan is absolutely stunning as Lois Lane. Boys and girls, outside of one situation with Perry White, which I guess we're never going to get Perry White to be white again, but that's beside the point out there. Besides that out there, we've even got a ginger Jimmy Olsen. This movie is trying to give you the feel of returning to the normalcy, returning to the classic version of Superman that we've all seen and loved from the comics so for very long. So the marketing is very much different, where at the exact same time, we've got a lot of the Fantastic Four marketing that we have covered time and time again, where it's all about Sue Storm. It's all about the women fixing all of the problems and leading the way. Stark contrast, and considering the fans what they've asked for and what they are not showing any likeness for, and they don't want to show up for all this diversity kind of nonsense, then guess what? It's very obvious which ones fans are going to choose. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com after my extremely windy intro. Sorry about that, boys and girls. And get into all the juicy details of exactly how much Superman is crushing Fantastic Four by. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2K. We are sailing away towards 2,100, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave a comment in the section down below. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think Superman is going to absolutely crush Fantastic Four in the box office on July, or do you think Fantastic Four still has a fighting chance once the movie actually ends up releasing? Let us know what you think about all of that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description and think about becoming a member of the channel. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Marvin Montanero. Superman beats Fantastic Four in first-day advance ticket sales as DC surges ahead of Marvel in summer superhero smackdown. And this is even worse than what it sounds like, because these tickets that outsold Fantastic Four were not released to the general public. Only a select group of people out there even got the opportunity to purchase these tickets. James Gunn's Superman is flying high just hours after ticket sales launched, with the official data from Fandango revealing that Amazon Prime early access screenings, that's Amazon's Prime early access screenings. So only if you have an Amazon Prime account or signed up for one could you even get access to these tickets. The Fantastic Four, on the other hand, was open to absolutely everyone. Yes, boys and girls, that's how much more interest there is in Superman than there is in Fantastic Four. And more than likely, that will hold out true in July when Fantastic Four ends up losing Disney Marvel money. And it wouldn't be any different from everything we've seen over the past few years. Have outpaced all of the ticket launches in 2025, including Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four First Steps. It's stunning. It's a stunning early reversal of fortunes, as DC should be able to set up to take the superhero box office throne away from Marvel after years of Disney's dominance in the superhero genre. But at the end of the day, they're still going to have to give you a good Superman movie. That opening box office weekend can be as big as you want it to be, right? But if the movie's not good, it won't have a hold. And then you will end up losing money no matter how much interest you have. So at the end of the day, James Gunn, you still have to deliver us a good Superman movie to actually have this all to end up working out true. Let's end up seeing what happens. According to Fandango, the July 8th Amazon exclusive preview showings for Superman, and this is just the one day, only 1 day of showings for Superman, became the first day ticket seller of the year, topping even early sales for Fantastic Four. The film's Amazon screenings are part of a partnership that gives Prime members early access to IMAX and 3D showings, a limited rollout that nonetheless racked up massive interest. And just think about this, unless you're probably in a major city, this probably isn't even going to be available to you for the most part either. So once again, shrinking down and limiting it even more, how many people are actually going to be purchasing these tickets? That just shows you the insane amount of super enthusiasm for Superman. That is absolutely crushing it. A limited rollout that nonetheless racked up massive interest. Yeah, not even close. Seats for these limited screenings are already filling up on ticket holding platforms, while comparable screenings for Fantastic Four are seeing noticeably less traction. Yeah, it was one of those situations where after Fandango promoted that and saying that Fantastic Four was crushing it, there was like a whole bunch of people that was just like, well, let's look at my local screenings for the first day. Empty. And it's like not literally empty, but it's like, 80% empty, 70% empty. So basically empty, like not sold out, packed out seats like this stuff is. That's just nuts. Beyond the Amazon screenings, the full nationwide ticket sales for Superman opened today alongside with the debut of the film's final trailer. Can't wait to see how that goes, and that data comes in a few days. The trailer heavily showcases Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor, and dude, he looked like straight villain. I was like, wow, Lex went hard in part of that trailer. I was like, okay, all right, you're an evil monster. I believe it now. And displayed several high-impact action moments, including our first look at the character many to believe to be Ultraman. The momentum for Superman isn't limited to just ticketing metrics. In a recently released 2025 moviegoing trends and insights study, based on a survey of more than 5,000 moviegoers, Fandango listed Superman among the most anticipated films of the summer. A follow-up survey of 9,000 ticket buyers highlighted Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor as one of the most anticipated performances of the year, indicating the film's appeal stretches beyond its title character. And that's really good to hear. I mean, Lex is an incredible character, and if done properly, dude can be a wicked villain. Like a really wicked villain. And that was always kind of one of the things that I had issues with some of the earlier portrayals of some of the Superman movies and stuff like that, seeing Lex Luthor as kind of silly and ridiculous, and it was really hard to actually take him serious or actually take him as like a true villain that kind of made you go, whoa, dude. Nicholas Hoult pulls that off in that second trailer, and he does a really, really good job of it. So, like I said, optimistic at this point. Optimistic at this point, boys and girls. Absolutely optimistic at this point. Yep, there you go. So Fandango previously reported strong advance ticket sales for Fantastic Four First Steps, with the Marvel reboot ranking in among the platform's top-performing pre-sales of 2025. However, Superman has now reportedly blown past those Fantastic Four ticket sales, becoming the #1 first-day ticket seller of the year. It marks a notable reversal of fortune for DC. For nearly 2 decades, Marvel Studios held an overwhelming lead at the box office, with juggernauts like Avengers Endgame setting records few films have come close to touching. And as a guy that was a big fan back for all of that kind of stuff, I liked Man of Steel. I know there's controversy over that movie. I still enjoyed it. But it's one of them situations where, like, DC has always been its own worst enemy, right? As far as I'm concerned, they've always been superior to Marvel as far as like the quality of their characters and the depth and the breadth of their characters. That's just, my personal preference. But it's one of them situations where they always were trying to chase Marvel, whereas it was Marvel was actually always chasing them. They would announce something and the Marvel would be like, well, let's get it done even faster. And that's the problem with it. DC always ends up just screwing themselves over because they end up shooting themselves in their own foot by just taking too long, having screw ups behind the scenes, they just got like DC's just had very bad luck for a long time when it comes to adapting their stuff and who's been in charge of the studio, who's been in charge of these movies, like all of that kind of stuff. It has been a very rough ride. And I think maybe that's why a lot more DC fans are willing to give this shot because it's a fresh start. And hopefully this can kind of erase just all of the major problems that we had in the past and give us something that'll actually be good going forward. We'll see what happens. So far, it looks good, but we'll end up seeing what goes on with that one. But since Endgame's 2019 release, Marvel's dominance has wavered. Projects like Eternals, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, the Marvels, and most recently the Thunderbolts underperformed. They all lost money. I don't know why they didn't put Captain America Brave New World on here, because that one lost money too. Several attempts by Marvel to course correct with multiverse storytelling and legacy characters have yielded mixed results. That perceived instability may have opened the door for James Gunn's DC reboot to capture mainstream attention. With fresh casting, a clear creative direction, and strong early interest from moviegoers, Superman now appears positioned to challenge Disney's Marvel grip on the superhero genre, something that seemed nearly impossible just a few years ago. And it's one of those things like it had to bound to happen eventually, right? Disney can't course correct fast enough to fix the problems inside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? They're going to try to use Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars to try to essentially erase all the stuff that's not working and kind of give them a fresh start. But, that's 4 years out from now. Whereas DC's getting a fresh start literally in a month. So it's like, it just makes sense because people don't want to wait around for all this nonsense. Marvel just has so many problems right now that need so much fixing. And they just don't have the time and people are burnt out. They're just not interested in it anymore. Why bother with it when you're just going to be disappointed again? Especially with the price of movie tickets these days. So yeah, there you go. Early box office projections suggest a $100 million plus opening. With no official tracking numbers have been released yet, industry chatter and early estimates suggest Superman could be heading for the domestic opening between $155 million and $175 million in its first weekend. And if that's the case, if those numbers end up panning out to be more than just rumor and gossip getting spread around, that is going to be insane. That's literally like what, double practically? I mean, Captain America Brave New World, I can't remember what its opening weekend was now off the top of my head, but you're talking practically double anything Marvel's released this year. And anything Marvel's probably released in a while. Like, that is absolutely insane. This is obviously way higher than the Marvels. Like, it literally is going to practically make in its opening weekend, if these numbers end up panning out to be true, in its opening weekend, almost as much as what the Marvels did its entire run. That is insane. My, how the mighty have fallen. And yes, boys and girls, the Emperor has no clothes, and Marvel fans are done with it. Still, $100 million plus opening weekend will place Superman among the top box office debuts of 2025 and make it one of the biggest Superman movie openings of all time. And obviously, you got to factor in for a little bit of inflation on stuff like that and things like that. But needless to say, this is awesome. These are all good signs. These are all looking for like good things for Superman. I'm glad to see that. I think this is something that could end up really panning out very well. I think Nicholas Holt's going to be a great Lex Luthor. I think David Cornsweet's got a really great stuff. That latest trailer that we saw was just the right amount of funny without being overly stupid or ridiculous or cringe. There was just a couple of jokes in it, nothing too crazy. A little bit of James Gunn humor that actually seemed to work. I liked it. I enjoyed it. As long as I don't go overboard with it, I think we're going to end up being okay. But as of right now, the fans have spoken. The audience has spoken. The customer has spoken. And guess what, Marvel? They don't want you anymore. They'd rather see other people. And they got this big, hunky Superman and David Cornsweet coming over there to DC right now with a gorgeous Lois Lane and a Nicholas Holt that looks like he would probably get ready to tear out your soul if it benefited him in any way, shape, or form. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, that's just not what we're getting from Marvel anymore, and it's certainly not something we've gotten from them for a very long time. And at the end of the day, they will fail for it. They have done this to themselves. They decided to go chase this modern audience that simply doesn't exist and never has and never will, and the kind of numbers they need to keep anything afloat, and they continue to overdo their budgets bigger and bigger every single time, and that's going to lead them to the same place it has every single time, and that's complete and total failure. Fantastic Four looks gorgeous, But everything we've heard from the story, everything we've heard about all of the stuff from the actors talking about it and all the leaks that ended up getting confirmed true, it's not going to be something that most people are interested in story-wise. And guess what? You're not going to pay $100 to go to the movie theater just to look at something that looks pretty. You'll wait for it to come on streaming. You'll wait for it to be able to come on demand when you can sit at the house in your underwear eating popcorn at the house, you know what I mean, and not have to go anywhere and not have to look at anybody else. So at the end of the day, this doesn't surprise me at all. These numbers shouldn't surprise anybody that Superman's absolutely crushing the Fantastic Four because Marvel's done this to themselves, and I am excited to see that happen. I am excited to see, hopefully, a good Superman comeback, hopefully a good new DC universe kind of be able to expand slowly from this and actually give us good quality DC stories again. And you know what? If I got to back James Gunn and say, thank you, James Gunn, I ain't got no problem with that, so whatever, because boys and girls, at the end of the day, I just want good quality DC storytelling again that is actually faithful to the source material. And it looks like the audience has spoken. Superman's going to crush Fantastic Four. And you know what, Marvel? It's exactly what you deserve.